Hi, this is Deidre, and I'm here today to talk a little bit about editing photos using Photoshop, which is part of the Adobe suite. You can access Photoshop at many computers on campus in the library, but most importantly in GIST 215, GIST Hall 215. GIST is across from the Bret Hart House, or next to it, pretty close. And you can use those computers in there during open lab time, even though you're in an online class. You can also use all the computers on campus that have Photoshop. There's some in the art department and also in the library. You do not have to use Photoshop for this class if you can't access it. You can do some editing on your telephones, and you probably are already familiar with those programs. You can download a free program called GIMP, and I'm not making a GIMP tutorial, G-I-M-P, GIMP, but you can download that for free. It's a fairly complicated and in-depth editing program that you can use. So you can find that online. Just Google GIMP and you'll find a download site for your computer. And you can play with that, and I can point you to some tutorial videos that already exist. But we're going to play with Photoshop today. And as you can see, I have a whole bunch of photographs up on my computer here. We're going to take you through the cropping, sizing, careful use of filters, levels, and saving your file and getting it ready for to put on your WordPress blog. This is just a tutorial for today, so you can play with it however you like. I'm asking you to edit 5 photos for your first edited photo assignment. The 5 photos you took for your first photo assignment would be perfect for this. So here's what we're going to do. I picked out some photos. I was looking at photos from a medieval festival, and here's Photoshop. Photoshop is one of the Adobe Creative Suite programs, as I mentioned. So here's Adobe Photoshop. InDesign is the other one I use. This is the bridge, but we're just going to go right to Photoshop. And to open it, I have photos on my desktop already, and I'm going to take one and I'm going to just plop it right into Photoshop here. This is how I do it on a Mac. And it's going to pop right open, and we will see that photo that I wish to edit here as it opens up. The Adobe Creative Suite is the most often used software set in the professional world. So if you work at a print publication or an online publication, you'll use Photoshop. Advertising firm, public relations, any kind of place where you would be doing work with photographs, you'd be using Photoshop, and InDesign and Illustrator in Adobe. I have a few things problematic with this picture, but first of all, I just want to give it a good crop. We're going to think about, you know what, this isn't the right picture that I wanted to use. Let's try another one. There's some things wrong with this picture. One is I can't see the faces, so let's try a different one. It's always good to have a few options here. Let's see that one. Let's try this one. I'll put this one in Photoshop. There we go. Then we have some faces here. A little better composition. The girls are fighting. Something's I know you can't see my cursor, but the girl in green, there's something white behind her that's unpleasant. I'm going to open one more and pick the best of these 3. You've got to take a lot of photos because you're never sure what's going to happen with your photos. Now the girl in green, you can see she's, her smile is a little different, or her body's positioned differently, but the bales of hay behind her aren't coming out of her. So I'm going to use this third one. You take a lot of photos, and you get a lot of choices. You want to have choices. That is why you take a lot of photos. You see in this photo, we have the white thing behind the girl. That's a pretty nice shot. And then this one, you can't see faces. This one, you can see that. Plus, you have 2 other boys playing in the background with their fake weaponry. This is at the Medieval Fest in Blue Lake, which happens in the fall. And kids look forward to it a good deal. So these girls are dressed in their medieval clothes and jousting with their duct tape and foam instruments. Now, what we want to do is crop it first. So let me show you create the Adobe dashboard. The Adobe dashboard is over on the far left hand side of your screen. And I know you can't see my cursor, but I'm rolling up and down, and you should be able to see some text come up. Move tool, lasso tool. This is the crop tool. It's shaped kind of like a square with little ends on it. I'm going to click on the crop tool. I want to think about the rule of thirds here. There are lots of things I can do composition-wise for this piece. If I want to keep everything in there with the kids in the background. I can do that. But really, I just want to focus on the girls. So let's crop. When you hit on the crop box, you get up at the top of the screen, you get a way to size your photo. But since we're going to size our photos on our own, we're just going to cancel all of this information in these boxes and leave it open so that we can make any size crop box we want. We're working for an online format, so we really can do anything we want with our photos. We can make them any shape, any size. If you were working at a publication, you'd have to be a little more standardized. Let's do, now you see that we have some rule of thirds going on. See, I can have the shape here. I'm going to crop and make this photo. Should I make it nice and tall? About there. Yeah, line the top of the girl's head up with that line there. And then to crop it, once I get it the way I want it, I gotta add some more in the bottom here. Give them a little more space for their battle. No, I have a different picture. That looks quite different. Not sure I still like it, so I'm going to crop it one more time. I'm going to bring it up the bottom a little so that the top line of the tic-tac-toe board is right at the top of the girls' heads. That's a satisfying photo. I'm going to keep it like that. The road line isn't exactly straight behind them, but the horizon line is straight because I can see because of the way the mountains are there. And their feet feel adequately straight on the ground. So we're going to go with this, and now, I wish I had a better picture at this point. That is how you crop a picture. You once again, you can undo your crop by going Edit, Undo. The hotkey for this is the #Z, or the command sign Z, and that will get you back and forth to there. So that is how you crop. I could just crop one little tiny face out if I wanted to. And that would be what that. Does it look too small? If you want to make it bigger, if you want to see what the size is right now, you can look at it at 100%. Down here in the corner, as you can see, there's a little number thing. So that's what it would look like if I had cropped that. But I do not want to do that, so I'm going to undo that crop. I'm going to make it so I can see the whole picture by putting it back at 25%. There we go. Now, this picture is really big. I'm going to go back. I'm going to show you how to size the picture in Photoshop. So here's a picture in Photoshop. You want it to be 800 pixels wide, or our photo instructor, Mark McKenna, suggests 1,000 pixels wide. So we're going to go to image size, and we're going to find the right size for our image. Right now, the image you can see is huge on the disk, but I'm going to type in 100 for the width. It will make the height whatever the height wants to be. I'm going to type in 1,000. And it will make the height whatever the height wants to be. I'm going to type in the resolution as 72. This is going to go online, so you don't need a high resolution, a high pixels per inch count. If you were going to do for print publication, newspapers tend to like 150 for a resolution pixels per inch. Magazines, like glossy magazines, would certainly insist on 300 or more for resolution pixels per inch. And as you can see, the image size changes depending on that. We want a nice fast loading image. So this image is half of a megabyte of space on a disk. So when it uploads, it's going to upload fast, it's going to load fast on a computer website, etc. We want to make sure we have 1,000 pixels though. Okay, it changed that somehow. So here we are. Our width is 1,000 pixels. The height is going to be whatever the height comes to for that shape of a photo. Our resolution is going to be 72. I'm going to hit OK. This photo looks really small because it's at 25%. Now I bump it up to 100% again, and that is how big the photo will appear on a screen, which is fairly large. In WordPress, you can thumbnail things and make medium sizes as well. Now I have done these things. I've cropped it and I've sized it. There are some filters in Photoshop that you can use journalistically. And, there's one photo you can use journalistically, and that's the sharpen filter. You don't want to do it too much, but if your photo's a little blurry and you want to sharpen it a little bit to make it a little tighter, you can do that. This, as you can see, the resolution just got, or the image itself just popped out a little more. I don't like how it looks right now, so I'm going to unsharpen it by undo. Once again, the Command Z tool takes you back one step. I like the softness of this look, so I won't need to sharpen